Well, time has come that we move into our Pandas notebook 2. So we are now into our second session of our boot camp. First session got over at the first notebook. Although we ran overtime, we got delayed by about 30-35 minutes. But don't worry, we're going to cope up that 35 minutes of delay in the next three sessions of the boot camp. Great. So our Pandas notebook 2 is teaching us in depth the difference between apply map and apply map. All these three functions are used over a data frame or over a series, and they are supposed to work on every value in the data frame or in the series. But there are some little mild restrictions. The restrictions are as follows. Apply function, to be very honest, is used most because apply function can work over a data frame as well. It can work over a series. Map function and apply map function is used a little lesser. Map function and apply map function both are same. The only difference is map function works only over a series, and apply map function, who has the same work like a map function, works over a data frame. I repeat, map and apply map are similar, or I should use the word same, in terms of their functionality. So they have very similar functions. The only difference is map works over a series in exactly the same way, and apply map works over a data frame. Okay, apply is very frequently used because apply works equally well on both. Now, what is the role of them? It's very simple, friends. If you want to apply some processing function over every value of your data frame or your series, see my English words. I said, if you want to apply a processing function to every value in the data frame or series, you would apply, or you would use the apply function. A quick example of it would be, if somebody is saying you that I'm giving you some numbers like 2, 4, and 6, and I want you to multiply every number by 2. I'm just giving you one hypothetical, super simple example. The point is that you want to apply some processing over every value, namely 2, 4, and 6. I will use the apply function. So the name also goes that way. Apply. You are applying some processing over every value. Next, look at this case. Suppose your numbers are 2, 4, and 5, and you want to find only the even numbers. That means you're trying to filter. You want to find only the even numbers. So there is a thing which is coming to your mind that you want to do some kind of filtering. If I wish to do some kind of filtering, then you are thinking of kind of mapping. You're mapping. Or other words, I could also use mapping in place of replacement. Example, supposedly I have this piece of data where the color of a car could be red, it could be white, or it could be bright blue. But instead of holding the information as color of the car as red, white, and blue, I plan to make it as a 0, a 1, and a 2. So you are mapping the values red, white, and blue to 0, 1, 2. This is an application where I would do mapping, or I would use the mapping or map function. So apply map and map is used in this kind of situation. Where you want to do replacement or maybe some kind of filtering, I would probably use map or apply map. Okay. Now, having said this, let's get into the core part of how we are supposed to use them. So, very first thing, friends, if you notice, I have made a dummy data frame here which has three columns: column A, B, and C. Column A has so and so values, so on and so forth for B and C, and all the rows have been indexed, as you could see here. All the rows have been indexed, as you could see here. Row 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when I run this cell, what do I see in the output? Very clearly is the data frame, the dummy data frame made. Now imagine the situation. If somebody comes with a requirement to you that, listen, I want the summation of every row 1 plus 10 plus 20, and store that submission as a new column called D in the same data frame. So this is to be thought upon. See, applying loops is going to be very tiresome. So you haven't to work with loops because you have apply and map to help you. So what we are doing is we are making our own user defined function called, let's say, custom underscore sum, or you can give any name of your choice. I'm sure you would feel, let's give the name as sum only. No, you cannot. Why? Because sum is already a built-in function in the Python pandas. So I'm sorry, you can't use sum. So you have to use some other name. So I have made a function of mine called custom underscore sum, or whatever name you wish to give. To this function, you will pass every row at a time. You will pass one row at a time. Example, the first row is 1, 10, and 20. The row which has got passed, you will say row dot sum. So you get a summation of 1, 10, and 20, and that answer is being returned. Now, the point is, have I to use some tiresome loops? No, not at all. No way. You are giving me the data frame df. Remember, I have not given any column name here. I haven't given any column name here. No column name specified. So what's going to happen? If you don't give a column name, then you are picking up the whole row. So if I remove the column name, apply is going to pick up the whole row, 1, 10, and 20. And to the entire row, it is applying, go by the English words, it is applying the custom sum function. So in short, the row which you have picked up, 1, 10, 20, goes in the row variable. The row dot sum is 31, which is being returned. Whatever you return, or whatever this function df.apply returns, is getting stored in the variable D. So result 1, 10, 20, total is 31, got stored here. Next, 2, 20, and 40, result is 62, it got stored here, so on and so forth. Right? I'm sure you will be wondering, what is axis equal to 1? It's super simple. By heart with me. By heart with me. Axis equal to 1 means I will go row wise. Axis equal to 0 means I will go column wise, which is default. Axis equal to 0 means we'll go column wise. Complete column A, complete column B, complete column C. नहीं, मुझे वैसा नहीं जाना. मुझे जाना है row wise. Therefore, I've kept the column, a second parameter, axis equal to 1. Okay. I want all of you to please run the first and the second cell from your Colab notebook. If anything is missing, Pooja MV, Mansi, or Dinna will please highlight. Okay. So, Sanket, this question coming up from your side actually informs me that you are unaware of Python functional programming. Okay. But just to give you a quick point here, when you use apply function, it is being applied over the data frame. So this is what is being passed. So what apply does is apply is working as a loop internally. It picks up every row of the data frame and gives it to the custom sum function. So you don't see all that parameter passing out here. Okay, right? Great. So now, as I can come to know from people have almost all finished, and many people have said that they have done with this piece of coding. I want all of you to self try that if I keep axis equal to 0, if I keep axis equal to 0, then I'm getting my answer. Let me run my cells once. I didn't run actually. Right, so if I'm keeping axis equal to 0, I'm getting this row 5 with some values. Can you please explain to me what is this row 5 having? From where on earth did I get a 10 here or 100 here? I don't understand. How did I get a 10 here? Correct. Axis equal to 0 is adding up the elements column wise. Perfect. Good. Very nice. Because the column is getting added up. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. That's right. 10 plus 20 plus 30 plus 40 is 100. So when we add all the columns, we will get this answer as 10. So naturally 31, 62, 93 and 124 added up will give the answer as 310. In short, all the columns have got added up. That's right. Okay. Now, when we use a apply function, we always use it with lambda in the end of a lambda expression format. So in the lambda expression format, we can notice that the same function, the same code which you wrote above, where in the above case we were actually calling a custom sum function. So whatever is the code of the custom sum function, friends, we can actually write it here itself. हम उसको यहाँ पर भी लिख सकते हैं as a lambda expression. देखिए कैसे. So how this works is, when the apply function works on the data frame, it picks up either row wise or column wise depending upon axis. Axis equal to 1, so it's going to pick up row wise. So it will pick up one entire row, give it to the variable x. Remember, whatever row it picks up, it is going to give it to the variable x. Then you can use any variable here, your choice. Then x dot sum is basically summing up all the elements of the row, and whatever is the answer is being dumped in the variable d in my data frame. So a new row, or rather a new column called d gets created, which holds the sum of the entire row. Same thing can be done for column wise addition. Please notice your entire code here is same. The only difference is, instead of axis 1, I have made axis equal to 0, and whatever is the answer, we are dumping it into the row 5. Okay, just take a quick example. Suppose somebody has written this code should be there with you because I have written uncomment. That means this code is there. I want you to self run this code and tell me what is your immediate feeling. What output change are you seeing when you run this code? Who's going to come on audio to explain me what this code is doing? Who's going to come on audio to explain to me?
Shall export the extra value of C and multiply it with 2.
Absolutely. So the apply function, as you very correctly said, takes every value of C and multiplies it by 2 and dumps it into a column called D. Very nice. Good. So everyone will please uncomment and run their cells. If you finish the running, tell me done on the chat. Very well. So I see a majority people saying that they are done. Now friends, as I explain the part ahead, it would be a requirement that you will please load or you know the data set, because this is a different notebook. So you'll have to run from google.colab import files and upload your wine reviews small.csv to your Colab notebook. Please upload this to your Colab notebook. It will take, as last time it took 7 to 8 minutes, it will take that. Yeah, Pooja MV, I know there is one more cell, but you've done that cell in the previous notebook already. You mentioned, remember, some cell was missing in the previous notebook, that is the same cell. So it is already done. Yeah, so everyone will please upload the data, and if uploading has started, please inform me as upload started on the chat. Salman, coming to your question, will the row 5 get affected? Of course, yes, because it's also a row. So you're going to multiply, because this data of row 5 was already existing in the data set. So it also gets multiplied by 2 and you get 400 here. Just relaxively start the uploading of your data set and say upload has started message on the chat. Salman, understand that this row 5 was already there, no? The row 5 was already there in the data frame. Data frame does not know how row 5 is come. So for it, this is just a dummy row. So he will pick up the row 5's third value C and multiply it and dump it into D. Because we're running our code, Salman, sequentially. So the code which has run previously has already added the row 5, Salman. So obviously now the code which comes in doesn't know how row 5 has come. For it, row 5 is simply a data. Okay, I'm holding for 1 minute. Please start uploading your data set. It will take 5 to 7 minutes for uploading to happen. Let it keep happening. I'll relax for 1 minute. I'll come back after a minute. Fantastic. So I see for many people uploading has started, and for some upload is also completed. That's very good. But even if it is not complete, there's no problems. Let me flow with the cells. In the first cell, we are reading the entire CSV data and we're marking the index column as 0. So obviously, we are using the index which is already there in the wine reviews as our index. We're not using the default implicit indexing. We're making the 0th column index. Now, understand, don't worry about the fact that data is getting uploaded. Let it keep uploading. Don't worry about it. Please watch my screen. Minimize your Collab notebook, watch my screen carefully. We are creating a rating column. So we are going to add a new column based on the wine reviews data frame with this logic. If you have scored between 70 and 80 points, I'm going to give you 3 stars. If you have scored between 81 and 90 points, I'm going to give you 4 stars. If you have scored above 90 points, that means 91 to 100, I'll give you 5 stars. So you are having a rating mechanism to give rating to the wines depending upon the points which they have scored. So how will you do this? This is a beautiful example which you can do by applying. Have a look at the logic. Understand it only logically. Because after the boot camp, all the notebooks are yours. So you can always go through them once again to get the syntactical structures more clearer. Although students who are learning Python programming from Swain Consultants or who have already learned, for them this is going to be like cakewalk. They will understand it very quickly. So Python is strong, you will get all this very clear. Wine reviews, I'm picking up only one column called points and I'm applying over it this entire lambda. Let's see what this lambda says. First of all, when you say you are applying this lambda expression over the points column, that means for every row, for every wine sample, the points which it has scored will come in the variable x. And now your journey starts. So if x is greater than 90, I'm going to return a 5. But if it is not, I will go to my else and check the else body. This is the else body, which says let's check if the point scored is above 80 and less than 91. That means between 81 and 90. In short, 81 to 90. If it is so, I'm going to give you 4 points. Else, I will go here and give you 3 points. But even if your point is like below 70, then I'm going to return to you a 0. That means no points for this kind of wine. Simple. No rating for this kind of wine. So wine getting less than 70 points, no rating for it. Cool. So all this happens and you're storing it back into the rating. Please remember. I repeat, please remember. Wine reviews, rating column in the previous notebook, we gave rating as 4 to every wine, which doesn't make sense. But this makes sense. This shows to you that yes, your wines are being given ratings according to the points they have scored. Now, I remember in the previous session 1 of the boot camp, Mansi had asked a question of how do I find like non-duplicate or unique values. Something in that direction is you can use the function called value counts. Friends, what value counts actually does is it will actually find, first of all, how many unique ratings have you given. So the unique ratings given by us are 4, 5 and 3, and then it is going to find the count among each. So what value counts basically does is it groups the records and then within each group it finds the records. So in the group 4 there are 22,126 wine samples. In the group 5, that means 7,469 wines have been given 5-star rating, and only 70 wines have been given 3-star ratings. I'm sure you're wondering that why there is no entry zero. That means there is no wine which is below 80 points. Simple as that. All the wines have been given 81 and above. Simple. Okay, right? So Pooja MV, Mansi, please check if this code missing or is there. Please give some idea. Okay, great. So friends, as the code is there, I'm expecting now that you should run this code, because by now your data would have also got uploaded. Yes, Pooja, you are absolutely right, but in descending order. It's going from highest to lowest. So friends, I'm waiting for your done messages over the chat so that I can proceed further. And I hope you have noticed a very valid point raised by Pooja MV. Very good observation, that whenever you report output of value counts, you will always see the output coming in descending order of counts. That means highest counts first, then so on and so forth. Sanket, answer is yes. Absolutely. If you keep it as a string, it will be considered as a different format. You're right. So 5 and 5 in single quotes are two different things. Correct. Okay. So now friends, as most of you, I believe, have finished with the, giving the ratings to the wines, 3-star, 4-star or 5-star. Time that we go a little more into technical part about the apply function. Apply function, friends, many people are unaware about it, has a second parameter called result underscore type, which can be set either to expand or to reduce or to broadcast. To be very honest, there are very limited applications of using result type, but when there is a need to use them, and if you do not know about result type, you will end up writing around the bush a lot of programming. Then you will write a 10-line program, but your work could be done in just 1 line. So what is this expand, reduce, or broadcast all about? Let's see. Uh, Friends, if you remember, in the above case, we had made this data frame. I'm remaking it, having the columns A, B, and C. I'll just rerun this. So obviously a new data frame called DF has got created, which is having 3 columns A, B, and C, holding these values. Now, friends, if I supposedly do a broadcast, please notice I'm going to uncomment my code here. What am I doing is, I'm taking my original data frame DF, this one, applying over it the custom sum function which we had defined above, all the way up, custom sum function. It's supposed to sum the rows. And after summing the rows, I have given the option result type equal to broadcast. I will not speak about it. I will show you the output. Can you give me a quick guess? Observation skills. What do you think result type broadcast has done? By the way, after broadcasting, I held my results in a DF copy one data frame and I printed so I got this output. Absolutely. Akshay. Vashla is given the right answer. Akshay Vashla, over to you on the audio, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your answer is absolutely correct. Can you please explain your answer to the class?
Yes, sir. First of all, when we have defined the data frame, in that we have passed four in index we have passed four titles. That is
Mm-hmm.
row one, row two, row three, and row four.
Correct.
But the columns were A, B, C. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the row four was means we have defined step custom sum x is equals to 1. X is equals to 1 is like we are going towards column wise, and the
Mm-hmm.
result type we are broadcasting. So in this step, just giving the whole 31 plus 62 plus 93 into the row 4 and summing the each and everything.
Okay. So custom sum is actually finding the summation of every row. So the first row was summed up to 31. The first row got summed to 31. So what we're doing is broadcasting the answer. So every element of the row is getting replaced by its sum. Am I right, Akshay?
Yes, sir.
Right? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Right. So friends, in short, when you give the result type is equal to broadcast, आप क्या कर रहे हो result type broadcast रखकर जो आपको answer आया that answer is getting substituted in every positional value. So in every position, you are substituting the value. As simple as that, right? So I hope this is getting simple and clear to all. Now, question now comes to your and my mind. But before I go into the question, what I'm doing now is the result type expand and the result type reduce. Okay. So as regards the result type expand and to reduce, please keep watching me. I'm going to run this code. I may not give you time to run this code, okay, just to conserve on timing, but keep watching me. I have made a function called calculate multiply column. It does some multiplication. What it does, it takes every value from the eighth column, multiplies by 2, then takes every value from the B column, multiplies it by 3. So data frame apply is applying calculate multi-column, and when you say expand, now to be very honest, whatever answer you're returning, this answer can be shown as values in two columns. If you're getting confused, let me tell you that row A is holding 1. So 1 into 2 is 2. Row B is holding 10. 10 into 3 is 30. So you can notice their answer which is being returned is coming in two separate columns. First answer here, so the first answer is 2 comma 30. But 2 comma 30 came in two separate columns, 2 here and 30 here. Now, without I going into a situation of what expand is doing, please look at the reverse of what reduce is doing. I repeat, please look at in reverse of what reduce is going to do. If I change this expand to reduce, please notice how the output has come. You will notice that the output has come as a list. So if you want the answers as a list, you would use option reduce. If you want the answer in the form of a data frame in separate columns, you would use the option expand. I hope this is like straightforward and clear. The difference between expand and reduce. So Dhruv has a question. Dhruv, You will not be able to correlate with any kind of scenario here, because most of the times when we are dealing in neural networks, internally neural networks expand and reduce operations happen. In convolution neural networks specifically, we happen to do them, they happen on their own. Plus, for some mathematical operations, we may have to reduce or expand. So it is more a math driven thing, where in mathematical matrix operations you may need to do an expand of a matrix, or reduce of a matrix, where this kind of operations can be used, not otherwise. You will not see it in a domain like, you pick up a shopping domain or a finance domain or an insurance domain, and you expect this these are very minute things, these are very low level things, so you will never be able to connect them outrightly onto a larger domain or a scenario. Okay, until unless you are very good with neural network programming and you're also very good with math, then the different story, not otherwise. Because people who work in math, if there is any math person probably who's a doctorate in math here, then he will definitely understand what is the application of it. Because if you've done a lot of metrics work, you will definitely understand expansion of metrics or reduction of a matrix works this way. Okay. Now, for your self execution, that means as a homework, you have solved example, same thing what I did above, same thing resolved here, with examples related to expand and related to reduce. So I want all of you to please check, and specifically Pooja, MB, Mansi or Dilna, to report to me, is the code for DF copy 2 completely there or not? It should be there because it's a homework. Okay, Sachin, expand is not changing the column name. You see, there were no names to the columns, no? So when you're expanding something, there's no name to the columns. So obviously the columns will get their default names 0 and 1. Okay. So everybody is saying that this df copy 2 code is there. So please make sure df copy 2 code in your pandas notebook 2 is like a homework which you should do, so that you run one code of expand, you run one code of reduce, you get it very clear of what is happening. Okay. Now I'm moving on to my next function called apply map. Apply map is only available in data frame and used for element wise operation across the whole data frame. Now, to be very honest, as I told you, apply map is nothing but applying the map function on a data frame. And apply map cannot be used over a series. So let's take this super simple example. This is the code for your original data frame. What we are doing here is we are applying a predefined function called numpy.square. I have not defined this. हमने इसको define नहीं किया है. numpy लाइब्रेरी में square function predefined है. हम क्या कर रहे हैं, हम numpy.square अप्लाई कर रहे हैं हर एक एलिमेंट को, नो रो वाइज, नो कॉलम वाइज. मैप मीन्स एलिमेंट बाय एलिमेंट. Map means element by element. You're going to apply this function to each and every element. So when you square every element, you can notice 1 square 1, 2 square 4, 3 square 9, so on and so forth. Simple. Now I want all of you to please run apply map function, that is df copy 4. If you finish that, you should say to me on the chat df copy 4 done, or you can say apply map done. Any confusion in this code, please ask. Okay, so lots of people have said that apply map is done. That motivates me that I should move further. So I move on to the map function. Same work. I'm again and again repeating. जो अप्लाई मैप करता है वही मैप फंक्शन भी करता है. बस उन दोनों में अंतर ये है कि अप्लाई मैप फंक्शन डेटा फ्रेम पर काम करता है और मैप फंक्शन केवल और केवल सीरीज पर काम करता है. बस दोनों में इतना अंतर है. ठीक है, राइट. नाउ Usha Kiran, you are asking me a question which is little out of context because I have given that work of expand and reduce as homework for each one of you. So, there is no use of giving a homework if I have to answer the question here itself, right? So, and one simple piece of advice, when you're running all these codes, please remember your data frame should be remade. Otherwise, you are working on the old data frame. Let's understand that. Right? So just be careful on that. Now, hmm, so Usha Kiran, that's that question. If you do little pondering on it, little thinking, you will get the answer. It's very simple. Okay. Now, friends, we are coming into the map function. Let's see how the map function is going to work. I have a list of laptops here: Lenovo ThinkPad, Ultrabook, and Asus. What we're doing here is str.upper is supposed to convert everything to uppercase. So what is str? Str means string, and upper is a built-in attribute in Python, which means convert to uppercase. Okay, you want to apply this built-in function str to upper to whom? किसको apply करना है ये? We are going to apply this over a list called my laptops. So when you apply str to upper to my laptops, then map is done. But friends, we really cannot print the output of a map, so I'm converting the output of a map to a list and then I'm printing it. Have a look. What do I see? Is all the names in upper case. Okay? No, I'm not giving you time to run it right now. Patience. There is one more thing to be done, and then I will give you time to run. As you can see, my question here is what would this code do? I've got a list of circle areas here, and I've applied some function. Question is to all of you, so obviously I can't answer. We have done some work here, and after doing that work, when I print my output, 3.56 has become 4, 5.57 has become 6, so on and so forth. So who wishes to come to audio? And in 30 seconds, explain me what is this map doing here? That's right, Firoz. And Deepak, you answered first. Surena says, I will come and explain. Surena, over to you.
Hello, Rocky sir. Am I
Yeah,
audible?
yeah, very clear, Surena. Please, over to you. Yeah.
Okay. So now in the result, we are storing the list of the circle areas, and the map function now brings in the circle areas and it rounds it to the closest number. So, for example, 3.5. The closest number to 3.5 would be 4. So anything after 4.5 would be rounded off to the next number. Similarly, the same thing happens for 5, 4, 56.24, 9 and 32. That is
Correct.
the reason why we are getting whole numbers instead of decimals.
Perfect. Very nice. Very nice. Perfectly answered by her. That what we're doing is we're basically rounding every number in the circle areas. Absolutely. Perfect. If you wanted that you wanted to have precision also, I have given an extra code for yourself trying that people who are like acquainted with Python programming can try the lambda expression to work with precision also. Only thing is that you need to give some value here. You can give some value of precision from your side, like 2 or 3 or whatever precision you want to give. Okay, so please now run both the codes. Run the code of string dot uppercase and also run the code of map rounding. No, Sachin, map output will not print the output. So map will give you a mapped object. So if you print a mapped object, it will show you an address. It will not show you the values. So to see the values, we are converting a mapped object into a list. Right, Sachin? Okay. Okay, Sanket has a question. Can we exclude any specific column and apply map? Yes. You cannot exclude. You have to specify which column you want to work with. So you can definitely uh, try out examples on your own with respect to selecting the columns. Of course, in series you cannot. So not with respect to the map, but in apply map, yes, you can choose the columns. No, you cannot drop out the columns. You can choose the columns which you want to apply data on. Okay, so I'm waiting for the class to finish with the running of previous two cells. If running is over, please let me know. Okay, so lots of people have said done. Very nice. Class. Question time has come. They're going to solve the 4 questions in 15 minutes. We will solve the 4 questions in exactly 15 minutes, not even a minute extra, friends. Okay, so please be very super active now. Create variable centered price containing a version of the price column with the mean price subtracted. My goodness, क्या सवाल है ये? ऐसे ही क्वेश्चंस आते हैं ना, टैगल पर तो ऐसे ही क्वेश्चंस हैं जिनको आप क्लियर करोगे. हाँ, उन्होंने हिंट और आंसर्स दिए हैं, कोई डाउट नहीं है उसमें, लेकिन बस खाली आंसर खोलकर अगर हम कॉपी पेस्ट करें और आगे बढ़े तो वो गलत है ना. सो let's understand first of all the depth of the question. What does centering exactly means? Centering means that instead of keeping the price as it is, he wants you to basically find what is the mean price among all the wines. So the wines could be costing $10, the wine bottle could be costing you $100, the wine bottle could be costing you $600. What he's trying to say is, you first find the mean price. Suppose the mean price of all the wines is $25, suppose. So the first wine which is costing, let's say, only $5, you will subtract 25 from it, and its centered price, not the price is this, centered price would be minus 20. Obviously a wine which is costing exactly $25, when you subtract 25 from it, its centered price will be 0. That is the reason the word centered comes in, because you have a kind of a 0 point. So if you have a 0 point on an x-axis, you're able to see is the data balanced or not, which means you come to know how many wine samples are costing below the average price and how many wine samples are costing above the average price. So this gives us a kind of a statistical measure whether our data is balanced or not. I know, I know that most of you with your common sense will say, "Arey Rocky ji, data balance कहाँ से होगा? Very few wine samples are very expensive. So this data is definitely not going to be balanced." That I know that you can predict from your common sense. That's okay. Technically speaking, somewhere where a common sense can't be used, example the COVID-19 cases, can you use a common sense there? You cannot because it's unseen for you. So for us, data can only help us. Okay. So let's see this now. What I've done first is I've taken the data frame wine reviews. I've selected the price column and found the average or the mean price from it. I've also printed the mean price. I printed the mean price just for the sake of satisfaction. Okay, like we see the mean price there. So the mean price of the wines is $34, $34.9. What I'm doing next is just for the curiosity. I thought I should print the minimum price of the wine as well as the maximum. So the minimum and the maximum price of the wines are, oh my god, the wines are costing you as low as $4 a bottle up to $2,500. My god, the older the wine, the more expensive it is. So I've got the min of the price and I've got the max. That gives you kind of a range. Okay, your wines are costing from this low to this high. Then what I have done is to show the application of the map as well to solve the problem. Wine reviews dot price, we are mapping every value in the price column by applying this lambda over it. What is the lambda saying? So I pick up one price value, bring it to the variable p. Let's say the first wine is costing $25. Huh? Please understand. Let's say the first wine is costing $25. 25 comes in the variable p. We are doing p minus review price mean. So p minus review price mean is going to subtract the value of review price mean from the price. So 25 minus 34 will give you the answer as -9, which will get stored in this variable called centered price, right? So obviously when I print the centered price, I can see centered price printed for all the 29,665 records as follows. Some values which are coming as negative indicated their prices were below the average price. Some wine price is coming as NaN, yeah, because some wine samples don't have a price attached. उनका price दिया ही नहीं है, उनका वहाँ कोई value नहीं था, blank था. So obviously a blank minus 0, sorry, blank minus 34 is going to be not a number or NaN. Okay, this is just uh, just for our kind of curiosity कि रॉकी सर अभी क्या होगा minimum price, अभी क्या होगा maximum price, just for curiosity. Somebody asked me, so I just added this piece of code, although this is not needed, that after normalizing your minimum is -30 and your maximum is 2465. Okay, right? So I hope this is going clear. Okay, Devashish has a question. Can we use apply instead of map? I think the class can answer. Sachin has already answered and the answer is correct. When you want to work value by value, always apply map. Row by row, column by column, apply. I'll put that in the notes also. So question from Devashish. Answer, I'm straight coming to the answer. Use apply when working row wise, column wise. Use map when working element wise. In this case, we are working element wise, so it's always simple and straightforward to use map function. Right. Now friends, the line number 18 from my screen, as instructed by Pooja MV, Mansi and Dilna, I'm doing that. They told me that line number 18 is missing. So I have posted line number 18 on the chat. Please pick that up and use it. You have got two ways of doing it. One is my code, other is Harshali ma'am's code. You can use any one of your choice. Okay, please take 1 minute, finish this. Twelve ten, 12 10 12 12 को ब्रेक होगा. नहीं नहीं नहीं, लंच ब्रेक 1:30. Okay, right. So friends, let's move on to question number 2. I would request one of you, either Mansi or Dilna or Pooja MV, any one of the student or boot camp coordinators, to please come forward, any one of you three, whoever wants to come forward to read this question and explain me what is expected of this. Yep. So Pooja MV, can you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm an economical wine buyer. Which wine is the best bargain? Create a variable bargain wine with the title of the wine with the highest points to price ratio in the dataset.
So what do you understand of this?
So,
Okay, let me ask you, when you say that you are interested in economical wine buyer, that means you are very conscious of uh, the price to points. You want the wine which has got the highest points for the least price. Am I going correct?
yes,
Hmm?
yes, sir.
Yeah, in a very similar way, you want a phone with the best quality specifications, best quality specific, not only the specifications. You want the phone with the best quality specifications versus the price.
Yes,
Right. So in that case, if I ask you, you will obviously say OnePlus, because OnePlus is that series of phones which gives you the best quality specifications for the price they quote. Uh, so what we are looking for now is basically those wines which are having the highest number of points but the least price, kind of, right or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, great. So that is the way we are going to basically find the most economical wine. Yeah, thank you, Pooja. Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, friends, as our friend very correctly read the question, and she explained that she wants to go in for something which is like highest points but for the least price. Even Sukantu said the same answer on the chat. Very correct. That the highest point and the least price. This is what you want, and that is definitely economical. So, what is the logic of the code? Max function will return only the max value. There is another function called idx max, which will return the index of the max value. सर इंडेक्स क्यों चाहिए आपको? मुझे इंडेक्स इसके लिए चाहिए क्योंकि मुझे वो पूरा रिकॉर्ड प्रिंट करना है या मुझे उस वाइन का डिस्क्रिप्शन या कुछ डिटेल्स प्रिंट करना है. Therefore, I need to find the index of that wine which is having the highest points but the least price. So how do we go about? Have a look. From the wine reviews data frame, dot points will take up all the points divided by wine reviews dot price will take up all the price values. Will take up all the price values. Okay. So what we have here is wine review dot points divided by wine reviews dot price gives us the value. This will give us 29,665 calculations of points divided by price. Now, which out of them is maximum? If you want, you will use dot max function. No, I don't want the maximum. I want the index of the wine where this value points divided by price is coming as maximum. Acha, interesting. So when I run this piece of code, index will come here. If you're still getting confused, okay, let me do one thing for you. Let me just put this over here in a print statement and remove the IDS index. I'm just getting the max value, and I'll keep everything else commented so that we avoid confusion. 21.25 is the highest ratio which we have got. That means the prices would be peanut amount, and the value here would be points would be like 91, 92, or 93 or 95 points divided by some price of 6, 7 or $8 or whatever, which gives me 21.25. So that gives me clear indication that I've got the wine which is giving the maximum ratio. But then what is the use of it? You don't know anything about this wine. I don't know anything about this wine. That's right. So if you do not know anything of this wine bottle, what is the use of you finding it? Hence, I went ahead and found the index at which that wine bottle is stored. And once I get the index, I can supply that index to locating the record. And then what do you want of the record? You want title, you want the origin, you want the country, whatever you want, you tell me over here. If you want only single column, I'll write a single column. If you want multiple columns, make a list and put it here. Simple. So I'm getting a title of the most bargained or most best wine with the least price, which is this Felix Solis 2013. Okay. Again, what line of this code is missing? Mansi, Pooja MB, or Dilna will highlight to all of us. As instructed by our friends, the entire code is missing, so I've given the entire code to you. Please go on. And people who finish with this, in no time, they should please move on to the next question number 3. So Kamil, that was very good. You have finished it quite fast. Please, I request you to start pondering upon the question number 3. Start thinking about it. Okay. So that's a majority which says, who are saying that the second problem is over. Now, I would request one of you to please come forward to explain, to read and to explain what is the question number 3 all about. Who wishes to come forward to please read? Mansi says, can I? Of course, Mansi. Over to you.
Okay, sir. Third question is there are only so many you can use when describing a bottle of wine. So, is a wine more likely to be tropical or fruity? So, we need to create a series called as a descriptor count, counting how many times each of these words appear in the description column in the data set. So in this case, sir, we need to go for the column called as a description, wherein these words are there, which describes a wine.
Mhm.
And we need to count in each column how many times this tropical or fruity has appeared. This is what
Fantastic.
is the question.
Fantastic, fantastic, very good. So can you also proceed and take initiative to try your level best to explain how the code is working? You are welcome to read the comment also.
Uh, okay, sir. So we are applying basically the map function over here
Mhm.
on the column descriptor, and we are also using the sum function because we need to count.
Correct.
So first we need to count the tropical. How many times the so in the wine reviews, we go for the description column. We
Correct.
use a function called as a map,
Correct.
and we are applying a lambda on this description column, that is D, and we are finding for the tropical in D, this particular column, and we are taking the sum of this.
So are you trying to say that when you say tropical in D, this will be true
Hmm.
for all those cases in whose description tropical word comes?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, fantastic, very good. So, Mansi has very correctly explained by you. You are trying to say, I'll pick up the description of every wine, I'll find the word tropical in it. If the word tropical appears in it, this expression will be true, and ultimately you will take a total sum of it. So you will come
Sum
to
of
know
it. Yes, sir.
how many wine descriptions were having the word tropical.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, what are the next thing doing? Next line of code.
Next, same thing about, sir, for the fruity. The same
Okay,
thing we are talking about whether it is the fruity, we are counting it.
okay. Then what is
And
this
then
line
we are
doing?
creating a series using the pandas called as a descriptor count, and we are printing the count of it where the index is one is a tropical and one is a fruity. So how many times the tropical and how many times the fruity has come. So it
Okay.
is a series,
So
one
when I run,
dimensional.
so when I run this piece of code, I come to understand that 837 wines are tropical and 2137 wines are fruity. So which wines are more popular?
Fruity.
Exactly. The fruity wines are more popular. Perfect. Perfect. Great. Uh, yes, definitely, Sachin. You should try solving the problem with is in also. Yes, you can. Definitely, yes, you can. So how much part of the code is missing? Everything has to be typed.
And
Okay. Okay.
entire
Okay.
case,
Okay.
entire code.
So the code comes your way, friends. Please look on the chat. The code has come your way. Okay, that's a majority who says that they have done with the third problem as well. Fantastic. So I'm going on to the fourth problem. Please, I'm expecting many more people to come forward who will take initiative to read and explain the fourth problem. Come on, I'm giving you a chance to volunteer. Come on, who's going to come forward? Sukanto says, I will. Fantastic, Sukanto. Over to you.
Yes, sir. I'm audible.
Yeah, very clear. Very clear.
Yeah. So the problem is that question is that we would like to host these wine reviews on our website, but a rating system ranging from 80 to 100 points is too hard to understand. We would like to translate them into simple start rating. A score of 95 or higher count as 3 star. A score of at least 85 but less than 95 is second star, and any other score is 1 star. Also, the Canadian Winters Association brought a lot of ads on the site, so any wines from Canada should automatically get 3 star regardless of the points. So basically, that rating what I've given earlier, that 80 to 100, it is a wide range. So it should be a very simplification of the between 1 star, 2 star, and 3 star.
Correct?
So there, the 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, it has a rating. There is a point. So point that is anything more than 95, 95 or higher, that is 3 star. Anything between 85 and 95, that is a 2 star.
Hmm.
Or anything below 85, that is 1 star. And apart from that, any these wines from Canada, that should be automatically by a 3 star.
Perfect. Perfect. Can you please read this last part also?
Yeah. Create a star underscore rating with the number of create a series star underscore rating with the number of stars corresponding to each of reviews in the dataset.
Correct.
So in the dataset, we need to make a series called star rating with rating 1, 2, and 3, star 1, 1, 2, and 3, and what is the count of it?
Correct. Correct. Now I have a very quick question to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Sukanto, as you can see that we have defined a function called calculate stars. We haven't called it. Whenever we call it, we will see how what it does. But if somebody is passing a row from our wine reviews dataset, if somebody is passing an entire row, this simply if says that if the row dot country is equal to Canada, then you are returning 3 pointers to it. Why?
So because it is by default, it should be 3 because it is
Ah,
Canada. It is there is a first, there is second clause. Then
okay,
any
okay.
wine from the Canada that should have the 3 rating.
Okay, so
So
that means if a wine is from Canada, we are not going to look into its points. We're just going to give
its
3 stars
points.
to it.
Yeah.
Acha, acha. Okay, very good. So then there is an else if pointer, else if which says if the points are greater than 95, then return 3. Else if row points greater than 85, return 2. Why? What does the else part signify?
The rest of the things. One first clause Canada that is there. Then we coming to LC of greater than equal to 95. So star is equal to 3. Then greater than is equal to 85. Then the return is 2 star 2, and rest of the things is 1.
So all the
Anything between 85 is 1.
so anything below 85 is 1. Okay, okay. Great, great. Absolutely great. Fantastic. So
Thank you.
so friends, as Sukanto, our friend, has very clearly explained the function. Now there is nothing left. So you are taking a wine reviews, you are applying the function, then you return axis equal to 1. That means your function should get applied row wise. That's right. And whatever answer comes in star ratings, just for my curiosity, I took the value counts of it to understand how many wines have got 2 star, 1 star, and 3 star ratings. Right. Again, back to the question here to Pooja MV, Mansi, and Dilna. Is there any code missing? Okay, understood. So let me give you the code in two parts. First, I'm giving you the code. There is a function. I've given you the function first. Please don't put anything on the chat. People will get confused. I have put the function first. Now, after the function, I'm putting the calling of the function also. Okay, I put both the things. Please don't respond on the chat for the next 1 minute. Let people copy the entire code. Yes. From now on, if anybody has finished with this code and got the answer, can respond or reply back to me on the chat. Wow. Lots of people are saying done. That's quite quick, huh? That's quite quick. Fantastic. Sukant was given the answers also. Wow, fantastic. Right. So, friends, as you have been able to finish with the second session of the boot camp, congratulations, you have finished 55% of the boot camp. There is 45% more to go. So we are doing a trekking journey today, and we have climbed 55% of the mountain. Okay, so still more to go. Right. So we are going to take a quick 10 minutes freshening up break. This is 12:25, 12:35 we meet back, and we're going to start with Panda's Notebook 3. A humble request, during this break time, if you can just spare 1 minute, go down to the website datascience.swinconsultants.com, data analytics section, and also open and copy to drive the Colab Notebook 3. The Colab Notebook 3. Okay, right? So you're going to do that as well in the break time. So friends, we meet back in the next 10 minutes. 12:35, we meet back. Thank you.